Hey guys, this is a video in my MATLAB tutorial series. In this video, I'm going to go over the essentials of if statements. We'll look at some if, else, and Elseif statements in MATLAB. I'll also touch on while loops. I think the best way to understand these would probably be to jump into some examples. So without further ado, let's get to it. If statements are generally used in a conditional sense. You're essentially telling your code to execute a certain task if a condition is met, otherwise do something else, or maybe do nothing. For example, let's write a very simple code where the user will be prompted to give an input. MATLAB will evaluate that input and do what's specified in the if statement. Let's ask the user to input their most recent exam score. Let's clear anything in the workspace. Let's CLC anything to get rid of anything in the command window. And then let's type in exam underscore score, a single equal sign to assign a variable name, and then input parentheses, semicolon, and a single apostrophe twice. And in between the apostrophes, you'll write in the message that the user will see. So let's say, please enter your exam score, and I'll leave a little bit of a space. Okay, and then we'll come up with the if statement. So if exam score is greater than or equal to 60, display congratulations, you passed. Else, let's say display better luck next time. All right, and then for if statements, you have to type in end to signify that the if statement is complete. So let's run this. As you can see, MATLAB is prompting me to enter my exam score. Let's say I type in 95. It will say that I passed. Let's run it again. And you can run a script either by clicking run here, or the hotkey for running a script is Control Enter. So if I press Control Enter, I get prompted to enter my exam score. And let's say I type in 35. It's going to say better luck next time. Now, this is a very basic code and does have a few flaws. For example, if the user meant to type in 90 and accidentally typed in -90, it will still show that the user failed. However, -90 shouldn't even be a valid input. Inputs for exam scores should be between 0 and 100. So let's change things up a bit. This time, I'm going to use two if statements. The first one will check if the input is larger than 100 or less than 0. So let's bring this if statement down a little bit, and then here say if exam score is greater than 100, and then a vertical bar to signify or in MATLAB less than 0. So we're saying if the exam score is larger than 100 or smaller than 0, display error need value between 0 and 100. And then we also want to prompt the user to type in a new value. And we're going to use the exact same variable name because we want to replace the original input value. And we're going to say here, let's say enter new value. So let's run this script. Oh, yes, so I forgot to type in end at the very to signify the completion of this if statement. So let's try that again. So please enter your exam score. I'm going to type in something larger than 100. Let's do 110. It's going to say need new value. Should probably left a little bit of space after value, but that's okay. So we're going to type in 95, and it's going to say that I passed. Now, there is a flaw with this as well. And before I run it again, let's leave a little bit of space after value. And let's try running this again. So this time, let's say I type in 110. But when it prompts me to enter a new value, I type in 110. And it tells me that I passed. What's happening is MATLAB is going in order. So first, it ran the first if statement because the exam score was greater than 100. But after you input the exam score for the second time, MATLAB is moving on to the next if statement. There's nothing here that tells MATLAB to repeat this if this new exam score input is larger than 100 or less than 0. And this is a good example of where a while loop will be useful. So we're going to type in while here, and let's see what happens when we use a while loop. Run, let's type in 110, 110, 110. So it's going to keep prompting you to enter new values as long as you enter a value between one that's larger than 100 or less than 0. So what a while loop is doing, as long as this condition is met, it's going to keep running. So if this is true, well, the while loop will keep running, and the actions specified within it will keep repeating. And as soon as this is false, it will move on. So let's type in a value that's smaller than 100 and larger than 0. Let's type in 55. It's moved on and said, better luck next time. And let's try one more time. This time, let's type in a value from the get-go that's between 0 and 100. Let's type in 68. And it's not going to go through this because this is false. The value is not larger than 100 or less than 0. So it just goes directly to this if statement. Okay, so now I think just a pass-fail system seems too broad. Let's start returning letter grades for user inputs. Under the pass-fail system, as long as the user input is a value between 0 and 100, there are only two possibilities that could be true. Their score was either passing or failing. That's why we simply had if or else. If they didn't pass, they failed. The failure message was displayed using an else. However, if we're giving letter grades in return for their inputs, there are multiple possibilities for the user inputs. So we'll use Elseif. Let's start writing the statements. So get rid of this. So if exam score is larger than or equal to 94, let's say, display you got an A, semicolon to suppress that, else if exam score is smaller than 94 and exam score is greater than, let's say 88, then display you got an A minus. So just a quick note here, the double ampersand is for short-circuiting behavior. What that means is MATLAB will only evaluate the second expression or operand if the first one is true. If the first one is not true, the second one, MATLAB won't even check it. If you use a single ampersand, MATLAB will check both regardless. So in this case, you can actually use either or. You can use a single ampersand or a double ampersand. Either should be really fine. And then let's do else if exam score is, let's say, less than 88, but it's greater than less than 94, but greater than or equal to, let's give 88 an A minus, and then here we're going to use the or equal to as well. And let's make that cutoff 82, and we're going to give this score, this range of scores B plus. All right, so let's do a couple more. Elseif exam score is less than 82, but it's also greater than or equal to 76. We'll give this range, let's say B. All right, and then let's do some more. Elseif exam score is less than 76 and greater than or equal to 64. Then do display, you get a B minus, and I forgot the apostrophe, and then else if exam score is less than 64 and it's greater than or equal to 58, we'll give this range C plus. And finally, let's do one more before we say no more scores can pass. So let's say it's less than 58 and greater than, actually, let's just say else display better luck next time. All right, and then end it. So let's run this. So first it'll prompt me to give an exam score. Let's say I give 85, say I got a B plus. And you can check this with a lot of different values. Try 150. It's going to say give a value between 0 and 100. And I'll give maybe 200. And it'll keep prompting me to give a new value, give negative 90. Keep prompting me to give a new value, a 96. Now it tells me that I got an 8. This might be quite useful. So if you're looking at inequalities, you can type in relational operations in the search engine like Google, and you can go to MathWorks website and see what the inequalities symbols are. Double equal is to assign a value. This is greater than or equal to, just greater than, and so on. And this is less than, and so on. You can always just search those up. So there you have it. I hope this video helps in some way. If you haven't already, please subscribe. In future videos, we'll look at more concepts in MATLAB coding, such as for loops, and we'll look at more details on if statements and while loops and so on. Also check out other videos on my channel, such as the graphing and scientific calculator tutorial series, as well as the calculus and differential equations videos. I hope you guys are all staying safe and healthy. Until next time, take care, guys.